But when I cleared out my wardrobe recently, I found these little numbers and my heart sank. Oh my gosh, I haven't put this dress on for about 10 years. It's so low. There is no way I would wear this now. I interviewed, but I just would not in a million years feel comfortable wearing this now. I've just got to realise that there are some things in my wardrobe that just need to stay there now.
Hello, welcome to the programme. This week we've come to a country hotel, the kind of place you might visit for a special treat, like Mother's Day this weekend. And later we'll be looking at your rights if you buy Mother's Day, a time when many of us splash some cash to buy a special treat.
So what's on the cards for the lucky mums in Llantrisant?
To plan. Well, Professor Margaret Griffiths is here. Margaret, let's talk about flowers, first of all. Yes. Let's say that you've ordered a bouquet like this from a florist to be delivered on a specific date. Right. What are your rights then?
Well, generally speaking, delivery has to...
And what about these experience gifts that you can buy now, like a nice high tea or a hot air balloon trip, for example? What about if that experience isn't up to standard, in your opinion?
Well, there are two aspects to that. And if it doesn't, then it may be that you're entitled either to ask for it to be done again or entitled to a partial refund. But in order to prove your case, you really do need to take photos, complain to the person at the time to see if it's possible to correct it there and then, and ultimately, of course, write a complaint to the company concerned.
Margaret, thank you. Now, buying all these gifts isn't cheap, and when it comes to... Well, it has been pretty cold recently, although spring is apparently on its way, which should make it a lot more tempting to ditch. Tonight on X-Ray, we're at the Wales National Velodrome in Newport, where our elite cyclists train and future generations of bike fans can get inspired to become the next Becky James or Geraint Thomas. But getting our children active isn't always quite so easy. And for one group of parents in Cardiff, it just got a little bit harder. Rachel has the story. Well, Cardiff Council, who appointed Better Leisure, told us they had in fact already stopped selling the All Action Junior card before the new company took over. They said some parents were block booking classes, creating long waiting lists for others and then failing to turn up. The council say they provide lots of opportunities for young people to pursue other activities through their partnership with Sport Cardiff and via the city's pitches and other facilities. As for Better Leisure, Juliet Dickinson, GLL's Regional Director for Wales, is with me. Juliet, parents we spoke to felt priced out of using their own community leisure centre. That is just not right, is it?
To actually provide a much more consistent, fairer junior program in those coach courses. But there's all sorts of specific courses that's the actual sticking point.
What about the way that you handled this? You didn't consult parents beforehand. It took you 2 months before you met with them. That's a pretty poor way to treat people. Much. And don't forget, if there's anything you'd like us to look into, you can give us a call or drop us an email. First, though, Rachel's got an update on a story we investigated back in November after you got in touch to tell us about a problem plumber. Well, however much you pay for your salt, it's a fact that most of us are still eating too much of it, and it's not doing our health any favours. I've been around the velodrome today to see if people here know just how much salt is hiding in everyday foods. Next, the man from Neath, who's been struggling to get rid of some unwelcome houseguests. The Housing Association did pay for a pest control report, but didn't find any evidence of rats in the roof. Since then, Michael feels his concerns have been ignored.
So what should you do to keep rats out of your home? I've come to ask an expert.
Ratting You should consider.
Well, Tai Tarian, the housing association which manages Michael's home, told us they've had no record of any rat-related complaints from him since a survey in May 2016 concluded there were no rats in his loft. They say they've been trying to get in touch with him since his most recent complaint, and they're now working hard to try and resolve his issues. Since we contacted them, they've sent pest control to Michael's house, and a drain survey of the street highlighted some potential problems. They say they'll be monitoring the situation. Let's hope that they take some action soon and Michael can have some respite from the rats. We'll keep you updated. Now, it's not just here at the velodrome that people are getting on their bikes. Spring is on its way and cyclists across Wales are preparing to hit the road. Many are using modern technology to enhance their experience, but cycle mapping apps can come with a sting in the tail. Bikes do cost thousands, don't they? So what else can we do to keep them safe?
Well, in terms of locks, what we want to avoid is these so the bike is actually secured, so that's something you might want to check.
Great advice, Andrew, thank you. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. If you need our help, you can call us 03703 334 334 or drop us an email, xray@bbc.co.uk. We're back to our usual time next week, Monday, 7:30. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Welcome to Wales Today. Tonight's headlines. Good evening. 5,000 people are to be offered blood tests after a retired health worker infected 2 people with hepatitis C. The person, who can't be identified, spent most of their career at Caerphilly District Miners Hospital, but also worked in other parts of Wales and the UK. Here's our health correspondent, Owen. Using the money from the tolls on the 7 crossings to finance an M4 relief road would face stiff opposition from business leaders. Well, that's according to the Federation of Small Businesses, which says it's deeply concerned at renewed suggestions that the Westminster and Welsh governments are discussing the proposal. But the Welsh government says it would seek to reduce toll levels if control of the bridges was ever devolved. More now from our political reporter, James Williams. Prince William has done his last shift at RAF Valley on Anglesey, bringing to an end his time there as a search and rescue helicopter pilot. With his wife, Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, and their son, Prince George, he's now due to leave the island, which has been his home for the last 3.5 years. The Prince has already said how much he'll miss the place, as Roger Pinney reports. Who knows? Well, we saw a few minutes of Gareth Bale on the pitch at last, but after another disappointing defeat for Wales, it was the manager who ended up as the main talking point. Ashley's here now with All Tonight Sport. Ashley.
Thank you very much, Lucy.
It's the last programme in the series before Christmas, but we're not going quietly. Welcome to X-Ray. First up, our phones can be a blessing when we want to keep in touch. But they can be a right pain when we don't, and firms contact us out of the blue after our business. Mo's been investigating Wales's biggest mobile phone company over some dubious tactics they've been using to get their hands on our cash. What he's got to say is quite shocking. That's coming up later. Now, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but it's one we have to keep playing. Here's the latest on the Ryanair refund saga, and it comes with a viewer frustration warning. Well, we wrote to Ryanair yet again, and they repeated their chief executive, Michael O'Leary's assertion that their refund backlog had been cleared and anyone who'd requested a refund had received one. They said millions of customers had successfully exchanged vouchers for refunds, but they added that all the people featured in our film had actually failed to request refunds. However, they have now promised that both Christine Jones and John Williams will get their money within days. About time. Well, it seems that there's only one place for this company. Yes, Ryanair, you are being inducted from holidays to another very important occasion for many, your wedding day. And who you hire to capture that special time can be a big decision. For some couples we've been speaking to, it's one they've come to regret. Here's Rachel. Well, we put Laura's question to Melissa Look and asked her, when will all the couples receive their wedding photos? She's expressed her sincere sadness and has apologised that it's had to get to this stage. She told us she's suffered some serious personal setbacks over the past 18 months, and due to having to work full-time alongside her business, she's been unable to carry out her photography commitments. She says she is now getting on top of her workload and making sure that all clients receive their photos. And the really good news is that Laura and Stuart have now received their wedding photos, which is absolutely fantastic. Well, I'm joined now by Colin Jones, who's in Rhyl, and he's the director of the Society of Wedding and Portrait Photographers. Colin, so more than a year, that's too long to wait, isn't it?
Yes, typically in a wedding photography contract.
So what do you recommend doing when you're booking a wedding photographer?
First of all, making sure that they have insurance. I would also make sure that you have a contract in place between the client and the wedding photographer. This helps confirm in writing what is expected of the photographer and the couple.
What can you do, though, if there is a breach of that contract and you don't get your photos within the time that you wanted them?
The vast majority of photographers really want you to be in love with the photos that they've captured of your beautiful day. The photographer would be the first instance. If that's not possible, then the last kind of resort is trading standards and small claims court.
Great, Colin, thank you. Next, it's time for our Rip-Off Roundup. Mo's back now with the second part of his investigation into Get Connected, meeting a former employee to find out more about what goes on behind the scenes at the company. Have Get Connected had to say for themselves? Well, they say they deal with thousands of customers every month and they have the highest review ratings in their sector, although they admit that on occasion they may not meet their customers' expectations. They say the complaints that we've raised with them are historic and any problems were resolved quickly without customers being left out of pocket. They strongly reject claims that they mislead customers or encourage their staff to do so. And they said that Scott, the former employee that we spoke to, was trying to damage their company because they refused to re-employ him. Now, COVID or not, Christmas is coming and many of you may be planning to bag yourselves a bargain online on Black Friday at the end of this week. It's the day lots of the big retailers slash their prices every year. Well, if this is your thing, you're going to want to be able to spot the fake bargains from the real ones. So, to help us with this, let's talk. We've dressed you in some tinsel to get you in the mood for some Christmas shopping.
I like it. It's working. It's very festive. I feel like I should have worn a Christmas jumper today.
So, Ollie, Black Friday, I mean, is that the day to really get some good deals? Those independent retailers on your local high street who also would really value your support if you can this Christmas. Now, in a first for X-Ray, we don't just bring you one reporter, but two, you lucky bunch. Here's Stefan and Omar in a cracker of a Christmas face-off. Anyone want to pull my cracker? Anyone? No? Oh, bad luck, Steph. I'll laugh at your jokes. And that's it for this week and this series. But we're back in February, so if you've been ripped off and you want us to investigate for you, give us a call or drop us an email. From all of us on X-Ray, have a great Christmas and here's to a brighter new year. Take care.
When it comes to sorting consumer problems, they say I'm the best of the best. A Top Gun troubleshooter. Of course, when it comes to travelling abroad, most of us don't have one of these to get us about. We rely on commercial airlines to get us off the ground.
And as Kerry found out, that can mean the cost of your flight soars to more than double the original price. And it seems Vueling isn't the only airline cashing in when it comes to changing your ticket. Plenty of other companies have sky-high charges too. Hot on their tails are firms that charge a flat fee for a name change. And that can be pretty pricey too.
Holiday.
So much for a low-cost flight.
But some airlines.
And what if you need to change the booking details because of an honest mistake, like a spelling error? But that's not much help when most people don't spot a mistake until they receive their tickets, days or even weeks later.
Until then, you'll have to brace yourself for extra costs for any changes you need to make. So be very careful when booking those flights.
Thanks, Sophie. Hello, you're watching Wales Today. I'm Lucy Owen. The headlines. It's faced here in decades. Also tonight, residents who saw a... Noswetha, good evening. Thousands of homes and businesses around Wales are still without power tonight after Storm Dara swept across the country over the weekend. Power companies say they're working around the clock to reconnect people after significant damage to the network from fallen trees that brought down power lines. Some train and ferry services have also been affected again today, and homeowners and businesses are left counting the cost. Well, Nick Savini is in Bilswells for us tonight. Nick, stark reminder of the dangers posed by many former coal tips found throughout the South Wales valleys. Today, plans have been set out to create a new organisation to try to improve safety for people who live near them, as Ben Price reports.
This was the scene of
The long-awaited Women's Health Plan for Wales has been launched with promises of health hubs in every part of Wales by 2026 to help close the gender health gap. The First Minister said women's symptoms will no longer be overlooked or dismissed, with 8 priority areas being identified, although it'll take a decade to bring about full change. Our health correspondent Jenny Rees reports.
And then bring it across.
It might look like Now, tomorrow we'll find out what the Welsh Government is looking to spend its budget on next year. And thanks to the Chancellor's budget in Westminster in October, they have an extra £1 billion to spend. Local councils will be hoping for a big slice of that cash to meet their commitments on things like social care and schools. And when it comes to the NHS, patients facing long waits for treatment will be crossing their fingers that any extra cash will help them too. Here's our money editor now, Felicity Evans, on the many demands facing the Finance Secretary.
So your value of your stress.
Making the numbers add up is a challenge.
A man from Ogmore Vale who waited 4.5 hours outside a hospital in an ambulance because there was no room in the A&E department did not die because of the delay, a coroner has ruled. Today marks an historic milestone in Britain's role in Afghanistan as the last Welsh troops leave for their final combat tour of the country. Charlotte Dubensky joined first the Queen's Dragoon Guards, better known as the Welsh Cavalry, at their base in Germany as they prepared to leave. It's the first of its kind in Britain and driven by economic reasons as much as environmental ones. The National Trust has invested in a new heating system by using seawater instead of oil. Of all the Trust's 29,000 properties in Britain, Plas Newydd on Anglesey is the most expensive to heat. The conversion is expected to save £40,000 a year. Our environment correspondent Iolo ap Dafydd has the story. Iolo ap Dafydd reporting. Well, Claire's here now with details of the day's sport and a career coming to an end, Claire.
And what a career it's been, Lucy. Thank you very much. Yes, oversaw the charge of the Light Brigade and was Lord Wellington's right-hand man.
Yes, and now the first Lord Raglan's war memorabilia is up for auction at Christie's in London after spending generations at the family home in Monmouthshire. Jordan Davis has been to London ahead of the sale. Storms earlier, didn't we, that caused flash flooding in South Wales.
Should we be braced for any more? Well, Benny is here. Benny, have we seen the worst of it?
Oh, very much. A reminder of our main headlines. More than 250 jobs are under threat at 2 factories in South Wales tonight. And that is Wales Today. You can get more on all our stories on our website, bbc.co.uk/Wales News. But that's it for now from all of us on the programme. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye.